The 2025 housing crash isn't coming
The
anymore.
housing market
It's
is
here,
flashing
and it's
red.
brutal. Across America, cities that were once red-hot real estate gold mines are now drowning in inventory, choking on price cuts, and witnessing something we haven't seen since 2008, sellers in full-blown panic mode. Home values are plummeting in markets that just 2 years ago seemed unstoppable. Bidding wars have vanished, days on market are exploding, and for the first time since the pandemic began, buyers hold all the cards. The numbers don't lie, and they're absolutely devastating for anyone who bought at the peak. From tech hubs where remote work dreams died, to Sunbelt cities where speculation ran wild. These 10 markets aren't just cooling, they're in complete freefall. The housing crash of 2025 has picked its victims, and if you own property in these cities, you need to see this. Because what's happening right now will determine who survives and who gets absolutely crushed in the new housing reality. Number 10. Austin, Texas. Austin was supposed to be the next Silicon Valley, the live music capital, the place where California refugees found affordable paradise. Instead, it's become ground zero for one of the most brutal housing corrections in America. Home prices in Austin have crashed 13% from their 2022 peak. That's a median loss of over $75,000 per home. But here's the devastating truth. It's just getting started. Inventory has exploded 85% year over year, and homes that once vanished in weekend bidding wars now sit empty for over 80 days. The culprit? The tech boom that built Austin is collapsing. Meta, Amazon, and Tesla have slashed thousands of jobs. The remote workers who drove up prices are getting dragged back to expensive coastal cities. Meanwhile, local buyers who were priced out can't afford $4,200 monthly payments, even with prices dropping. New construction is flooding the market. Builders who thought the party would never end are now offering desperate incentives. $100,000 price cuts, mortgage buydowns to 3%, even paying a year of HOA fees. Nothing's working. The Austin dream has become a financial nightmare, and sellers are learning the hard way that what goes up fast comes down even faster. Number 9. Seattle, Washington. Seattle built its housing market on one thing: big tech paychecks. Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they created a real estate machine that seemed unstoppable. Until now. The Emerald City's housing market isn't just cooling, it's in absolute meltdown. Median home prices have dropped 8% from peak, but that's just the beginning of Seattle's problems. Inventory has surged 67% year over year, creating the biggest supply glut since 2008. Homes are sitting on the market for 95-plus days, and over 45% of listings have slashed their asking prices. Here's what's killing Seattle. The tech layoffs are relentless. Over 35,000 tech jobs vanished in the past year alone. The high earners who could afford $1.2 million condos are either unemployed or fleeing to cheaper cities. Meanwhile, the cost of living remains crushing. Between state taxes, insurance, and HOA fees, even affordable homes cost a fortune to maintain. The luxury condo market has been devastated. Properties that sold for $800 per square foot are now struggling to find buyers at $600. Downtown Seattle feels like a ghost town, and the housing market reflects that reality. This isn't a correction. It's a complete collapse of the fundamentals that drove prices skyward. Number 8. Miami, Florida. Miami was the crown jewel of pandemic real estate mania. International buyers, crypto millionaires, and New York refugees turned South Beach into a speculation playground. Now that playground has become a disaster zone. The numbers are absolutely brutal. Home prices are down 12% from peak, but the real story is in the luxury market, where prices have cratered up to 25%. Inventory has exploded 94%, nearly doubling in just 1 year. The average home now sits on the market for 76 days compared to 18 days during the frenzy. But Miami's problems go deeper than just oversupply. The insurance crisis is devastating homeowners. Flood insurance premiums have tripled, some reaching $15,000 annually. Hurricane risk assessments are pricing out entire neighborhoods. Property taxes are skyrocketing as the city struggles with infrastructure costs. The international money that fueled Miami's boom is vanishing. Crypto fortunes evaporated. Foreign investment dried up. Even wealthy retirees are fleeing as the total cost of ownership becomes unbearable. What was once America's hottest luxury market has become a cautionary tale about what happens when speculation meets reality. Miami isn't just cooling, it's burning. Number 7. Boise, Idaho. No city embodies the pandemic housing mania like Boise. This sleepy mountain town became a magnet for California refugees seeking affordable paradise. Instead, they created their own expensive hell. And now, they're paying the price. Boise home prices exploded 102% between 2020 and 2022. A modest ranch home went from $285,000 to nearly $580,000 in 2 years. It was unsustainable, it was reckless, and now it's collapsing. Current prices have dropped 11% from peak, but inventory tells the real story, up 78% year over year, with homes sitting for 120-plus days. The California exodus that built Boise has reversed. Remote work is ending. Companies are demanding workers return to expensive coastal cities. Meanwhile, local wages never caught up to inflated home prices. A teacher or nurse in Boise cannot afford a median-priced home, period. Builder speculation was insane. The city's outskirts are littered with half-empty subdivisions. Some neighborhoods have more for-sale signs than occupied homes. Builders are dumping inventory at fire-sale prices, creating a race to the bottom that's destroying equity for everyone who bought at the peak.
Boise wasn't built for $580,000 homes, and the market is violently correcting back to reality. This correction isn't over, it's accelerating. Number 6. Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix was the ultimate pandemic success story. Desert paradise, no state income tax, endless sunshine. It attracted retirees, remote workers, and investors by the thousands. Now that same desert is littered with the wreckage of collapsed housing dreams. The numbers are staggering. Home values down 8.5% and falling fast. Inventory has exploded 89% year over year, the highest levels since 2008. Over 60% of homes sell below asking price, and average days on market have doubled to 71 days. This isn't a correction. It's a complete reversal of everything that made Phoenix hot. Remote work is dead. The California refugees who drove up prices are getting forced back to expensive offices. Local buyers who were priced out still can't afford $3,800 monthly payments on $65,000 median incomes. The math simply doesn't work. The investor speculation was massive. Wall Street firms bought thousands of Phoenix homes sight unseen. Now they're dumping them as fast as possible as rental yields collapse and maintenance costs skyrocket. Some neighborhoods are seeing 40% of sales from desperate investors trying to cut their losses. Phoenix's suburban sprawl is becoming a liability. Rising utility costs, water restrictions, and extreme heat are making desert living expensive and miserable. The lifestyle that attracted millions is becoming unaffordable, and home prices are following the exodus out of the desert. Number 5. Portland, Oregon. Portland was supposed to be the cool alternative to expensive West Coast cities. Craft beer, food trucks, and no sales tax. It attracted millennials and remote workers seeking affordability with culture. Now, the Rose City is wilting under the weight of its own contradictions. Home prices have plummeted 15% from their pandemic peak as the reality of Portland's decline hits the housing market. The tech workers who drove up prices are fleeing back to Seattle and San Francisco as remote work policies end. What remains is a city struggling with urban decay and a housing market in freefall. The downtown core is a ghost town. Empty office buildings, boarded storefronts, and safety concerns have driven businesses and residents to the suburbs or out of state entirely. The urban lifestyle that made Portland attractive has been destroyed by poor governance and rising crime. Population exodus is accelerating. Oregon lost residents for the third straight year as families flee high taxes, failing schools, and deteriorating quality of life. The buyers who once competed for Portland homes are now competing to escape the city. What was once a hip destination for young professionals has become a cautionary tale about urban mismanagement. Portland's housing crash isn't just about market forces. It's about a city that killed its own appeal and is now paying the price in collapsing property values. Number 4. Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh was supposed to be different. The research triangle promised stable tech jobs, reasonable costs, and southern charm. Instead, it became another speculation bubble that's now bursting with devastating consequences. Home prices are down 7% from peak, but the real story is in new construction where builders are offering massive incentives just to move inventory. Some developments are offering $75,000 in closing costs, mortgage buydowns, and upgrades. Inventory has jumped 82% year over year. The affordable alternative to Silicon Valley story is dead. Tech companies are consolidating back to major hubs. The distributed workforce that was supposed to make places like Raleigh viable is being forced back to expensive coastal cities. Local jobs don't pay enough to support the inflated home prices that out-of-state buyers created. Overbuilding has been rampant. Suburban developments sprawl endlessly with more coming online every month. The supply pipeline is so full that even if demand returned tomorrow, it would take years to absorb the excess inventory. Raleigh's housing market was built on a false promise that you could have Silicon Valley careers at southern prices. That promise is broken, and the correction is brutal. Number 3. Sacramento, California. Sacramento marketed itself as the Bay Area escape hatch. All the California benefits at half the price. Now it's becoming clear that there's no such thing as affordable California, and Sacramento buyers are learning that lesson the hard way. Home prices have plummeted 16.7% from peak, a devastating $90,000 loss on the median home. Inventory has exploded 87% year over year as Bay Area refugees try to escape back to where they came from. Days on market have doubled, and price cuts are everywhere. The Bay Area exodus that built Sacramento's boom has completely reversed. Tech companies demanding return to office have killed the remote work dream. Commuting from Sacramento to San Francisco is a 3-hour daily nightmare that nobody wants to endure anymore. Sacramento was never affordable by historical standards. It just looked cheap compared to San Francisco's insanity. Now, with Bay Area incomes gone but inflated prices remaining, local buyers are completely priced out. The median home costs $450,000, but median local income is only $75,000. This market was built on borrowed demand from the Bay Area. With that demand gone, Sacramento is discovering its true value, and it's much lower than peak prices suggest. Number 2. New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans isn't just facing a housing correction. It's experiencing a complete market collapse driven by forces that make homeownership impossible for most families. This historic city has become America's most dangerous real estate investment. The numbers are catastrophic. Home prices have already dropped 7% year over year, but Zillow predicts another 7.2% decline over the next 12 months. That's a total 14% crash that's still accelerating. A University of Mississippi study ranked New Orleans dead last among 100 major cities, calling it maybe the toughest city in America for real estate. The insurance crisis has made homeownership unaffordable. Hurricane and flood insurance premiums have quadrupled, with some waterfront properties paying $25,000 plus annually just for coverage. Here's the brutal math. 99% of New Orleans properties face severe flood risk, and 100% are at extreme wind risk from hurricanes. The city is literally sinking while sea levels rise. Infrastructure is crumbling, and every major storm threatens to wipe out entire neighborhoods. Climate reality has made New Orleans uninvestable, and the market is finally pricing in the truth that nobody wanted to face. Home sales have collapsed 20% year over year as buyers realize they can't get insurance at any price. The few transactions happening are desperate sellers dumping properties before the next hurricane season. New Orleans isn't just a housing market in decline, It's a city facing an existential crisis that makes homeownership financial suicide. Number 1. Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas thrives on risk, but this time the house is losing big time. Sin City's housing market isn't just cooling, it's in complete freefall, creating the most brutal correction since 2008. The numbers are absolutely devastating. Home prices crashed from $460,000 at peak to under $380,000 now, a 17% collapse that's still accelerating. Inventory has more than tripled in 18 months. Homes sit empty for 110-plus days, while desperate sellers slash prices monthly. Vegas was ground zero for investor speculation. Wall Street firms and individual flippers bought thousands of properties betting on endless appreciation. Now they're in full liquidation mode, dumping inventory at any price just to stop the bleeding. Some neighborhoods have more investor fire sales than actual residents. The tourism economy that supports Vegas never fully recovered from COVID. Service jobs that disappeared aren't coming back. The locals who could afford homes during the boom are now unemployed or underemployed. Meanwhile, California buyers who drove up prices have vanished. Rental yields have collapsed as Airbnb income disappeared and long-term rents dropped. Investors who thought they found easy money are discovering that Vegas real estate is just another form of gambling, and the house always wins in the end. But here's the terrifying truth. Vegas real estate is returning to pre-pandemic levels, meaning a 60% plus correction from peak is not just possible. It's inevitable. The desert mirage of easy real estate money is evaporating, leaving behind financial devastation that will take years to recover from. Water rights and climate reality make Vegas's long-term future questionable. Lake Mead is at historic lows, and the Colorado River can't support endless desert development. Smart money is fleeing before the next crisis hits. Final take. The 2025 housing crash isn't a prediction anymore. It's a reality unfolding in real time across America. These 10 cities prove that the pandemic real estate boom was exactly what skeptics said it was: an unsustainable bubble built on speculation, easy money, and false promises. From Austin's tech collapse to New Orleans' insurance apocalypse, the pattern is clear. Markets that rose fastest are falling hardest. Buyers who got caught up in the frenzy are learning brutal lessons about leverage and timing. Sellers who thought equity was guaranteed are discovering that real estate goes down too. The corrections in these cities aren't temporary blips. They're fundamental repricing of markets that got dangerously disconnected from local economic reality. More cities will join this list as 2025 progresses and the full scope of the crash becomes clear. If you're in one of these markets, understand this. The crash is just beginning. The smart money is already positioning for the next phase. Don't get caught holding the bag when the music finally stops. If this analysis opened your eyes to what's really happening in housing in America, please hit that subscribe button. The next 12 months will separate the winners from the victims in America's greatest real estate correction since 2008. So, make sure you're on the right side of history.